Good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Today is indeed a good day. I can love you and be your friend, even if we think differently, believe differently, act differently, look different, or come from different places in life. You are welcome here. With that in mind, let's get our day started together. Let's slow down together each morning to contemplate valuable precepts and how we might apply these in our thoughts, words, and actions today, and how they might grow into practices, habits, and even ways of life, so that our life's example is rooted firmly in core values that are a benefit to ourselves and to all around us. Hello, on this rainy Sunday morning. What a beautiful rainy morning. I'm grateful for the rain. Also, today, for many of us, this is the day that the time jumps ahead. It springs forward. So we're running on a different clock today than normal. So I welcome you into that. And as you can see, I'm about an hour later, time-wise. It's the same cycle as if the time had not sprung forward. But I'm running an hour later as far as the clock goes this morning. So hope everyone had a great week last week. We're starting our next week with Sunday and looking forward to it. This morning, we're discussing justice. As always, it helps to nail down the meaning of the word that we've chosen for our core value. When I say justice, I'm not talking about policing or convicting or punishing. I'm talking about making things right, bringing fairness where it is missing. When someone is seeking justice, or if we are seeking justice, which if we're saying that it is one of our precepts, we should be seeking it. It's not about oppressing. It's about encouraging and relieving suffering. It's not about punishment. It is about guidance and loving correction. Seeking justice is not about demanding what is due. It is about mercy and help for those in need. We might say that if we're seeking justice, we're looking to encourage and relieve the oppressed. We're seeking to help by lovingly disciplining and instructing the fatherless. We might say that we're seeking to plead for and support the widow. You should see a pattern here. It isn't about a legal justification and demand and punishment for non-compliance. The justice that I'm speaking about looks a bit different than that. Seeking justice is not about protecting ourselves as much as it is seeing the need, seeing the disparity, seeing an opportunity. The reality is that the world doesn't guarantee us any help at all. It doesn't guarantee those in need any help at all. The reality is that the world and the circumstances of our lives are very different There are some of us who live in solid houses, have food on our table every meal, have food in our cabinets at every whim, have air conditioned, perfectly climate controlled places to live inside of, with electricity on demand that can broadcast their face and their values across the world, that have transportation widely available to take them where they need to go to work, to take them on vacations, to take them across the world as they feel and want. And there are people at the other end of the spectrum that life does not help them a whole lot. There's a Sam Kinison joke that Sam Kinison, he can be distasteful in his jokes. He'd probably get canceled in today's world, but that doesn't mean that there's not humor and we can't see the contradictions and contemplate them. Sam Kinison joked, well, the people that are starving, they live in places where there's sand on the ground. You can't grow anything in sand. They just need to move to somewhere where there's good dirt. That's not exactly how he put it, but that's the gist of his old joke. And he didn't really believe that these people who were destitute and had no help and had the ability to move great distances to where there was good dirt. But the joke itself pokes at people's preconceived notions that they might be better because where they just happen to have been born into, the life that they've been born into, or that has been, they've had the opportunity to do well, whereas some others have not. It pokes at this concept, this world's concept of what it might call justice, that may not be the type of justice that we're talking about this morning. We can see that help, even spread equally, might be fair, but it might not be just. There is a difference between fairness and justice. We can look at this graphic and we can see fairness versus justice. Obviously, the boxes are help. If we distribute our help fairly, well, we see what happens with help just distributed fairly and equally, right? But true justice seeks to provide an equity beyond what is owed or earned. We can see on the left, the help is fair. But we can see on the right of this picture, the help is just. The need is met. Now, this can be a difficult concept for someone who has stacked their boxes high enough that they sit in a box seat at the game. They're not just looking over the fence hoping to catch a glimpse of the game. Someone might say, well, I've worked hard to stack my boxes. How much help have you had, my friend, truly, with stacking those boxes versus how much have you done on your own? And even if that were the case, that you could justify, I work harder than them, so I should get more. Can you not see their need? I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me. Justice. I want to look to a story that I think is a wonderful, wonderful perspective. An owner of a farm, he goes out early in the morning and he hires men. We might imagine him in the United States as driving up to the local Home Depot in his truck and making a promise to these men he has work for them. Men that are looking to support their families and provide for them, that are seeking work. And they jump up into the truck and he agrees, I'll pay you a daily rate that's well above the legally required minimum wage. A lot of workers in this position can't even be guaranteed that. They might get cash under the table to hide that they're not getting paid what is required as a minimum. But we're not even talking about that. We're talking about a promised daily rate that is above sufficient. His truck can't carry enough people for all of his needs, so he has to make multiple trips. And he hires people throughout the day. He goes out at 9 a.m. He goes out again at noon. Goes out at 3 p.m. Even goes out at 5. And each time he promises the workers that he can fit in his truck a daily rate that's enough to support their families. And that is, as said before, well above the minimum wage. When the end of the day came, the farm owner, he had his managers pay the workers. And he started with those who had been hired last, who he had trucked in at closer to the end of the day. And they were given the promised daily rate. When it came to those who had been hired first, early in the morning, they thought they were going to receive more. They had their eyes on what everyone else was being paid. When they were given the same promised daily wage, they began to grumble. They were angry because they had done a lot more work than those who had started later in the day. Again, they had their eyes on something beyond what was promised, right? They had their eyes on other people. They were making comparisons. The landowner, the farmer, he didn't listen to their complaints. He reminded them that they had agreed to that daily rate of pay that was sufficient to support their families, that was well above any legally required minimum wage, that was generous, was an opportunity well above what they would probably have gotten if they had waited for a different farmer to pull up at the Home Depot that morning. Again, that's allegory, right? He said, "Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or are you envious because I am generous?" Now, I would say this farmer was not just generous, he was just. Someone with an entrepreneurial spirit or a business mind with someone might say, well, I don't feel like that was just. Are you valuing people's time on an hourly basis? Are you valuing people for who they are and what needs their family has? Which of those two measures for valuing a person is just? Ask yourself this. You'll know. You don't have to answer. That's a rhetorical question. We know the answer to that question. Is a life in, is a person who is born in a country that has no soil where they can grow food or has no job opportunities any less valuable than someone who has been born into opportunity and prosperity? There are some who would say yes, sadly. But we all know in their hearts, in our hearts, that that's wrong. I think they even probably know that in their own hearts, even if they deny it out loud. Justice. Justice that we are talking about. Like I said, it's not about revenge or punishment. It's not about what is due. It's about making things right. It's about mercy and help for those in need. It's about encouraging. It's about guidance and loving correction. Imagine this man, this farmer. He's bringing these people to his farm and he's training them and teaching them. I would hope that this farmer is not just offering them a daily wage for that once, but maybe he's helping them build their skills so that they can learn to support themselves and their families consistently and reliably. This to me is justice. This is the justice that I'm speaking about. No, I don't know of a single country or society or community in this world that would effectively lay out this kind of justice. But we can. We can choose individually to seek this kind of justice. To be generous, to be like the farmer, not like the demanding workers, but to be like the farmer. And that is my goal today. I love you guys. I'm excited about the week that lies ahead. I'm excited about chewing on this lesson. There are things that will challenge us. I believe that most of us have in our minds a concept of people getting what they deserve or what they've worked for, or but what about the need, right? What about the person near us who needs a little bit more from us, who needs a little bit more help, just so they can see over the fence? I'm not as worried about the person who paid full price for a ticket getting to see the show, right? But what about the little boy who has no chance on his own without extra help? We can think about all kinds of different circumstances. We have labels for different people in our world and in our society that may need a little extra help, just so that they can find justice, not fairness. That might be orphans. That might be widows. That might be addicts. That might be refugees. That might be people that are disabled in some way, people that have some type of disease or infirmity, right? They may need our help. Even the man sitting in the big box seat that paid all of the money and thinks he owns the world, if he can't see the little boy standing outside the fence with no chance of even seeing the game, I would say that man needs help in his heart. Sometimes in my life, I'm the little man trying to just see over the fence. Sometimes I'm the ignorant, joyful man in the box seat who's made it to where I want to be, and I've forgotten the little man on the outside who can't even see over the fence. These are the things that I need to contemplate today. Love you. Take care. Have a wonderful day. If you want to talk about any of these things or discuss them, go deeper in any of these concepts. Reach out to me. I love it. I love when we get to talk about these things deeper and fuller and wider and delve into them. And there are people that have opposing opinions and views, and I love that too. It challenges me. And sometimes I learn and I need to adjust. I'm looking forward to it. Take care. See you soon.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a new day. Today's a new day. So give him praise.